Hey, what's up? It's Flow Vibe. So today I went to a guitar center and I played several different guitars worth around $15,000 in the last 2 hours, and it was pretty crazy. So I'm a bit exhausted. So what was my goal? I wanted to try a couple of Fender Strats, some Gibson, because I've never tried them before, and it's been a long time I've not gone to a guitar shop or music store to actually play. And so I went in the guitar store, and the first guitar I found was this Gibson, cherry color. What's the name again? Let me check. Yeah, so it was the Gibson SG Standard 61 electric guitar vintage cherry. So that's the first one I grabbed. This guy here. And this guitar is worth 2K. And yeah, it was a very light guitar. It looked a little bit like Satan's red guitar or something, like for rockers. There were scratches and such. It was like a very light guitar. So I started playing. So I plugged in different amps, and there was a guy, like a young teenager, playing mostly Radiohead. Not that good, but it was okay. So there was one row with a lot of amps, guitar amps. So he was playing there, and where I was, there was only a tiny little amp, so I plugged in there and I started playing a little bit, and it was not very satisfying, but yeah, I tried to play in this little amp. And yeah, so I was basically, taking the guitar and listening to it and tuning it. And I don't know, it just didn't feel so good, so I just put it back. And then I went on and I actually grabbed a Fender Stratocaster, so the American Pro 2, and there were two different colors. So there was I think it was a dark blue one, and the other one was the mercury color, so I used the dark blue one. And then I went back to my row there behind this guy playing really loud Radiohead, and then I found this big amp. It was actually very high but very narrow, and so yeah, I put my guitar, and so I was looking for the jack, and then I plugged it in, and then there was another guy behind the amp who just came and switched it on for me, and then he walked away and was buying stuff. And so yeah, I just started playing, and I will come back to that amp later, but it was kind of ridiculous. But I started playing with the Strat, and the first thing I noticed is, wow, so it's good quality guitar, but the thing is, I know now what that means, with the level of playing. So the chords, they were really, really far off. So when I was pressing those in, they were very high level. But I could play it really well, so I played some Jimi Hendrix, some Purple Haze, or some Voodoo Child. And that was pretty cool. And then, but still, those guitars were not really good quality. Again, a lot of scratches and stuff and scruffs, so they've been used a lot, it seems. So I put them back, and in front of me actually there was this amazing Telecaster 75th anniversary edition, so like this yellow shiny color. And I was dreaming of trying out that one, and that one was 3K, so I cannot really afford that, but took it in my hand, and we had this brown rosewood color, and the neck just felt perfect, and I started playing, and everything felt really soft, and yeah, just perfect for playing my little solo, my Jimi Hendrix. The sound was really amazing, and I was like, oh, I really like this Telecaster. It also had two buttons down here, a very nice feel, and I was just trying out, the different pickups. So I was just moving this back and forth and played different songs, and yeah, after a while I just put it back. And then a guy came from the guitar store, so a salesman who knew his stuff, and he asked me about how I was doing and what guitar I like to play, and I told him about the Gibson because I never tried the Gibson Les Paul, and I wanted to try the studio session that I was showing him up there, the dark black, kind of blackish one. And so he said, yeah, I'm going to pick it up in a sec, but by the way, the amp you're using, this big amp, and the whole row is actually, these are amps for bass guitar, and So I really felt like ashamed a bit, you know, that I was just playing on that bass guitar amp. And yeah, I don't know if the guy thought, wow, you know, this guy knows what he's doing and he's playing on a bass amp to hear the guitar different, or you know, I'm just a beginner or re-beginner. So anyways, it was funny, and I told him, you know, that I never tried the Stratocaster and Gibson Les Paul before, so I was really excited about that. And so yeah, he went on and then grabbed the Gibson Les Paul studio session. He grabbed one of these amazing guitar tuners, and actually I bought one. It was really expensive, $40. I will show it to you later, but this tuner was amazing. So he brought me the guitar. It was totally not tuned, and I could use another amp, so I used the Boss Katana 100 watts. I always wanted to try that one. I had a bit of trouble because there was always a chorus on, or when I pressed on the overdrive it got really loud and weird. And anyways, at some point I managed to do it, and so I was just, you know, tuning the guitar, and it was really out of tune, so spent a really long time tuning it. And then I started playing, and started playing the, you know, the song. Basically I was playing cherub rock, and after a while, you know, I was in my trip, and I was already, I don't know for how long I was playing in that store. And yeah, I mean, around me all these guys, they kind of already left. The teenager was gone. There were also some heavy metal teenagers and such. So then it was finally, I could hear my sound. And so there was this other guy who walks in the front, and he was like, hey, I know this song. And I looked at him, I was like, are you talking to me? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, you know Smashing Pumpkins? And I was like, yeah, it's Cherub Rock. And I just learned that track last night. And so he was like, yeah. And I told him, well, you know, I got this this guitar, the special edition from Billy Corgan, the Rever End. So we really started like this long discussion, and I told him, yeah, I bought this guitar 6 years ago or more in Colorado. And he was like, yeah, these are fantastic guitars, and most people don't even know about it. And so, you know, I tried this different, very expensive guitar, but I have one at home, and you know, this salesman, they told me, wow, this is a cool guitar, and it is one. And then he talked about this new pedal that Billy Corgan brought out with multi-effects that they use in the Smashing Pumpkins. So we'll have to figure this out online. I didn't know what he was talking about, so it's a new pedal. Anyhow, what happened afterwards? Yeah, so I was thinking back about the Telecaster. It's so cool, so nice, but too expensive, 3K, and it's not really my style. And so I also tried the Fender Ultra. So there was an avalanche color, you know, like snow white, the neck maple color like this one, and yeah, the metallic kind of silver gray pickup thing. And I played some Jimi Hendrix. Again, the level was quite high, but it was really fun. And then I used this little bar, you know, to make some sounds. I tried all the different pickups and sounds, and it was a really good feeling. This guitar, it also has the noiseless pickups. It had 3 of them, so it was not the HSS. But for whatever reason, that guitar played much better than the American Pro 2. What was it called? Let's check. The American Professional 2 Stratocaster, yeah. So the Ultra 2, that was, wow, that was amazing. So basically, if you look here, you can see that's the Ultra and that's the American Pro. And that was the Gibson, the 2 Gibsons I tried, the Les Paul. So yeah, I will try to zoom in a little bit on this. Later I will show it, you know, in the video. But so yeah, the first Gibson SG Standard 61 electric guitar, 2K. Gibson Les Paul Studio Session, 2K. The Telecaster 75th Anniversary Edition Yellow, 3K, about 3K. Then the Professional 2 Stratocaster, 1.8K. And then finally the Fender American Ultra, $2,300. So wow, but it was my favorite. But I don't know, I still wasn't sure, you know, because the guitars were not entirely new, a lot of scratches, and Also the levels were really high to play, so you know, and I had some problems setting up that Katana Boss amp somehow, but I didn't have time to figure things out. Each time I changed channel, it was like a huge sound and overdrive, and everyone was looking at me, so I just put back channel 1 with the chorus. And then there was a guy who was playing a Telecaster, and he had like, you know, fingers with different colors here on his nails, and I started chatting with him. He played really well, and I talked to him. Yeah, it's the first time I tried the Telecaster, and I was looking again at the yellow one, the 75th anniversary edition, and we were kind of both saying how cool it was. And I told him, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, what do you think? What's the difference between Telecaster and Strat? And then he was really saying that the key difference is, you know, depending on what you play. So he was asking, what do you play? You know, if you play Telecaster, it's more like blues or bluegrass. And then he showed some of, you know, the pickup settings, and then started to play some of these chords that fit well with the Telecaster. And then he grabbed the Strat and he showed me, well, look, and then when you play the Strat, you play more, and then, you know, some kind of Jimi Hendrix or some funk, or, you know, some solos, and also some overdrive. So yeah, I said I like Jimi Hendrix, I like grunge, yeah, I like Smashing Pumpkins, of course, Nirvana, and Rage Against the Machine, Deftones. That's from the past, you know, that what I like. I also like easy stuff like Jack Johnson, so, but I play that with the acoustic guitar. So at the end, he left me with a good impression. What's really the difference? And I don't know. Somehow he convinced me that the Telecaster is not made for me, and it's probably not worth saving, you know, years for this 3K guitar. So right now, what is my verdict? So overall, I really enjoyed trying out new guitars. It was funny to be in the store. You know, if it's busy, there are a lot of people. It's hard to hear yourself, and it's hard to decide. But at least it's very important to go and, you know, touch the guitar and try out, look at the colors. For example, the Gibson, I really did not like the neck. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, you know, it's this shiny color, and it seems that it could get a bit sticky when you play. So I really prefer the wood and the satin type of thing, like in Fender. So that was one thing. Also, the oval shape for the Gibson, it just did not fit myself at all. So very important to try out the guitar, you know, look at it, lift it, and then how do you feel when you play, right? And how is the sound? Very important. So yeah, spend the time, you know, try them out. So I don't know, my final verdict is between these 4 or 5 different guitars, I think 4. I really like the Stratocaster Ultra 2. I like the avalanche color, so I'm going to check it out further. You know, if there's any discounts or anything, maybe one day I'm going to buy one. You know, I had this one for a while. This is the best guitar I ever had, and I had this, yeah, around, actually more than 6 years. I don't know, maybe 8 years already. But yeah, I improved a lot to intermediate guitar player, and now I'm a re-beginner. I haven't played for a little while. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this guitar journey, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So definitely, if you can, you know, don't only go online and check the guitars on pictures and such. You need to touch them, you need to hear them, you need to try them, and then you may run into a lot of funny situations in the store. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you like this. Please subscribe to my videos. If you want more content, let me know in the comment. What is the guitar you like to try? What's the next guitar you think you know, you want to try or you love? And you know, of the different guitars, the Fenders and the Gibson I showed you, what is your opinion? You know, which one do you like and why? Alright, thanks a lot. Excellent. See you later.